Before I start demonstrating the exercises, let me give a brief introduction. I call this type of training Hartt, or H-A-R-T-T, which stands for Horizontally Loaded, Absorptive, and Reactive Torsion Training. It's designed to teach kinesthetic awareness, body control, and the ability to deal with force coming from odd angles. Basically, it's for any athlete who needs to change direction quickly. So that includes basketball players, football players, and basically any team athlete. Now, Hartt does these things by going through a progression of increasingly difficult movement patterns, and then upping the intensity. As the athlete masters one movement pattern, they can move on to the next. To get things rolling, we'll start with absorptive movements, because before one can put force out, they first must be able to absorb it. This is the first step in creating your own Barry Sanders. One more quick rundown before we begin. The basic premise of Hartt is to use the horizontal energy gained from doing a broad jump to load the muscles. The farther you jump, the more energy you will absorb. Now, a good idea is to use tape lines to ensure consistency in jump distances. And one final disclaimer before I perform in the exercises. I am a sprinter by sport, so I don't have to deal with rapid change of direction. And because of that, my form may become questionable as the difficulty of exercise increases. Just thought I'd let you know. Okay, this is the very first jump. All you do is jump forward. There is no rotation whatsoever. Jump forward and land in balance. One more time. Forward, land in balance. Ready to dart out in any direction. Okay. The next type of jump is just like the first jump, but this time we'll be adding in 90 degrees of rotation. Either clockwise or counterclockwise. Easy enough. After that, you do the same thing, but this time we'll be focusing on the hip extensors. So we'll start sideways to make it easier. Then we're going to rotate 90 degrees so we land backwards, like this. And now the other direction. Just like that. Or next, there's a 180 degree spin, which you can either do counterclockwise or clockwise. Remember, always land in balance. Once you've mastered the absorptive versions, you can then move on to the reactive versions. Each jump is basically the same, except once you land, you will want to react back to your starting position. So we'll start with the first jump. You jump forward, then react back to your starting position. So, react back. Now, just like last time, we will jump and rotate 90 degrees, and then react back to our starting position. We can go counterclockwise, and we can go clockwise. Now, once more, targeting the hip extensors, we start facing off to the side, and jump backwards and rotate back. Same as last time. Start, jump backwards, rotate back. Like I said, my form will get a little bit sloppy. But let me try that again. Okay, better. And now, the most difficult reactive movement is the 180 degree reaction. First, counterclockwise. Now, clockwise. Again, as you get better at it, you can increase the distance you jump. Having mastered the reactive progressions, you would then go on to the staged absorptive progression, which is basically like stage 1, but you will be jumping off of 2 feet and landing on 1. So we'll start. The first stage is straightforward, no rotation, land on 1 foot. Here we go, right foot first. Land in balance. Now left foot. Like so. Next, just like last time, we'll be rotating 90 degrees and landing. But unlike last time, there's a bit more variety now that we're on one leg. In this way, we can either choose to target the abductors or the adductors of either leg. If you want to target the adductors, which are the glutes and most of the external rotators, what we'll be doing is landing with the landing leg away from the starting line. So, right abductors and left abductors. Similarly, if you want to train the adductors, you will land with the hip facing the starting line. So, right adductors and left adductors. After this, we will once again be focusing on the hip extensors. So, we'll start sideways. Now, when you're facing this direction, you will always be landing on the left foot and rotating counterclockwise. So, similarly, when you're facing this direction, you will always rotate clockwise and land on the right foot. The last stage of this progression is doing a 180-degree spin and landing on one foot. We will be landing on the right foot when we rotate clockwise, and the left foot when we rotate counterclockwise. Let's do the right foot first. Right foot, and left foot. Like so. Once you've mastered all of these, and have increased the force to levels you're comfortable with, you can move on to the reactive stage 2. Now, for the reactive stage 2 progression, this is the hardest part of the progression and the very top, meaning that if you ever get to this point, it'll be some time down the road, or you're just a freaky athlete. Now, personally, I am not qualified to do these, so I will look like a fish out of water, but for demonstration's sake, I'll do it anyway. Okay, just like the stage 2 absorptive progression, we will be starting with forward jumps, no rotation on one foot, but this time with a reaction back. So, right foot, and left foot. Now, just like last time's progression, we are going to do a 180-degree spin and then react back. Again, since this is on one leg, you can target the adductors or abductors depending on how you spin. So let's target the right abductors and the left abductors. Then the right adductors and the left adductors. Once more, I will look like a fish out of water. The next stage of the progression is starting sideways and landing backwards, once more targeting hip extensors. We'll start focusing on the left leg, and then the right leg, like so. And finally, the hardest of any of the progression is the 180-degree spin with a 180-degree reaction. I'm not even sure I can come close to doing this, but I'm going to try. Enjoy. Right foot first. See, I can't even get the spin going. But let's try it again with the left foot. Like so. And that pretty much concludes the progressions. Well, that about sums the whole thing up. Before I'm done, I'd just like to say, take your time working through the progressions. Make sure you master each stage before you move on to the next. It may seem like progress is slow, but making sure that you totally master each and every movement will pay off on the field of play. Pushing an athlete may look like the thing to do, but really, you should only let them progress when they're ready. Trying to push them too fast or too far can result in injury or just subpar performance increases. Thanks for watching this far, and I hope you took something important away from this. I'd like to give a special thank you to Brad Nuttall, who one of his writings inspired me to do this progression. Thank you very much.